Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Makakudash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother Dawah from the Men of Valor campaign in Greenville, South Carolina, coming back with another video in sincerity and in truth, and Lord willing, it can be edifying. All right, and today we're gonna do a video on the Psalm of the day. And that was according to the KJV. You know, once again, I did it in a previous video where they have a daily verse, a daily gospel, and a daily song. All right, and I'll pick one to go through the Spirit. You know, if I don't have an article or something to bring out. So through the Spirit and power, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, the Lord has brought us to Psalms, the 83rd chapter. All right, which once again is very much relevant. Very much relevant. We're gonna get right into it, and to make it plain upon tables, which I won't read both translations, but I do have the NLT posted right here on the right hand side. All right, this is the Blue Letter Bible. You know, it just gives you know, it goes into the concordance, it goes into you know, the Hebrew, it goes into the Greek. All right, it does go off from here and there, but it also in these newer translations gives more of an insight as to what's being said, you know, because we've gotten away from that old English. All right, but nonetheless, let's get into it. All right, because this is prophecy. This is Psalms chapter 83 and verse 1, a psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. All right, and one thing that Israel, all right, in their docile ass state now, all right, being the 2/3, you know, those that are still, you know, in the valley of the dry bones, so to speak. All right, they're in that spiritual sleep. All right, they're spiritually dead. They don't understand that we have enemies. All right, and this is actually going to go on to list all of our enemies that consult against us. All right, and that applied back then, and that definitely applies today. All right, but Jake doesn't consider that they're in the belly of the beast, that they have enemies, man. All right, just because these devils ain't whipping the shit out of us no more, don't mean that they don't conspire against us to cut us off from being a people. All right, they set up rap culture, they set up nigga culture, and pretty much Esau has crafted, you know, his craftiness has set it up to where Jake pretty much doing all the heavy lifting for Esau. All right, these niggas roll down on each other more than Esau got to roll down on us. So, and that goes back to, you know, once again, that thug culture, rap culture, and all that shit. You know, which according to the law and according to our heritage, we're supposed to be brotherly. We ain't supposed to be just, you know, putting each other to death, murdering. That's one of the commandments. Thou shalt not murder. When it says kill, it means thou shalt not murder, man. Because when we went to war, all right, hey, you know, killing was being done. But to just be mindlessly murdering people, especially of your own nation, that's off. But that's what Esau has set up our people to do to each other. All right, verse 3, it says, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. And how did they do that? How did they do that? They took crafty counsel, man. They didn't do it in the open. They do these little psyops, man. All right, there's a show I'm watching now called Snowfall, which, you know, bros might be privy to it, which is an older show. You know, it came out about 2017 or whatever, so it's already wrapped up, you know, but I'm just now getting into it. And it's an interesting show, you know, of how the CIA pretty much was bringing cocaine into America. And you know, they created, you know, crack rock and shit, and how that started fucking Jake up, man. That was a crafty counsel. All right. Yeah, they might have had niggas cooking that shit up and they learned the recipe, but that shit was created in a lab, man. These different drugs and whatnot. Just like this music that carries these wicked ass vibrations, and they exalt these individuals and they put them on high, so that the younger generations, they aspire to be like them. Like everybody a damn NBA YoungBoy fan, everybody a Lil Baby fan. The young women want to be like Sexy Red and Ice Spice and shit. That's crafty counsel. Verse 4 says, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And the Lord told us that we would discontinue from our heritage. And that's what happened. And that was part of end time prophecy, that we would have to discontinue from our heritage. But In the land of our captivities, we shall remember ourselves. There had to be a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So we're in these times. We had to fall away. But in that falling away, best believe there was somebody that orchestrated it. These nations came together against us so that we wouldn't remember ourselves. Because if we're in league with our power, nobody can touch us. These nations can't do shit against us. But when we're going off, we're trying to be like these nations. The Lord is going to deliver us to these nations, and they're going to be able to make money off of us, make merchandise of us. All right, we make the places in which we dwell great. All right, we're the real scientists, we're the real doctors, we're the real lawyers. Everybody else is just copying the blueprint in which we laid. Verse 5, it says, "For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee." So they all on one accord, like, yeah, although these nations might have their quarrels amongst each other, they're in one consent against us, because they know if we're in league with our power, then they can't fuck with us, man. But if we're not, then they can exploit us and make money off of us. All right, how come in every hood you got Elam up in there making money? All right, from the corner store, and hell, they be driving BMWs and shit. You got Elam, you got Moab selling the damn hair to Eve. You got Ishmael and them selling jewelry to Jake. Here it is, we don't own these things ourselves. You got Esau with his money on everything. There was a study that I came across before I came into the truth. And it said that the African American GDP alone, spending GDP alone, was like $5 trillion. Or no, I think it was like 1.5 trillion. That's a lot of money. But we don't have $1.5 trillion worth of wealth. We're giving it right back to them. So they've consulted it with one consent against us to cut us off from being a people. But now, they're persecuting us because we're standing upon our feet. That's why it says, "And great fear fell upon them which saw them." All right, to see an Israelite man in order, growing his beard, praying to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, that's the scariest thing to a damn devil. That's the scariest thing to these elites. Not a nigga with a gun. All right, they look at these damn guns, or a damn Draco or an AK, man. Esau got some other shit. He gonna send these robots to handle that. But what he does fear is us and us preaching his word, because that's the bringing down of strongholds. Us preaching is the end of his kingdom. Jeremiah 28:8, "The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war, evil, and pestilence." Is not America a great country and a great kingdom? We're prophesying against it, and the Lord is about to bring it to pass. So going down verse 6, "The tabernacles of Edom." All right, you got to identify who these people are. And we've identified them through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. The Edomites are the so-called white race. It says, "And the Ishmaelites." Okay, so we're not cool with these people, man. All these people are confederate against us, man. It says, "And the Ishmaelites," those Arabs, and Moab. Who are the Moabites? The so-called Asians. Okay, you got the Chinese over there. You got Koreans and whatnot. I'm sure they got different tribes among them. Then you got Ammon, which are the Japanese, so-called Japanese. It says, "And the Hagarenes, and Gabal, and Ammon." All right, there go Ammon. All right, even the Japanese against us, and Amalek. Who is Amalek, man? Those 1948ers, those small hats that have illegally occupied the land of Israel. It says, "The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre," those and Hamites. So Ham is against us. Verse 8, "Assur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Selah." Verse 9, "Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeb, yeah, all their princes as Zeba and as Zalmunna." Verse 12, "Who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of the Most High in possession." All right, and who's the main one that did that? All right, it was Amalek, man. Amalek literally laid claim to the Lord's land. I mean, Ishmael did it too, but they're the ones they really trying to have a greater Israel plan. They're really trying to take that land and into their possession. They really believe in their heart that it belongs to them. And they're using their firepower to cleanse that land, so to speak. All right, verse 13, O my people, make them like a wheel as a stubble before, verse 13, O my power, it says, make them like a wheel as a stubble before the wind. Verse 14, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. Verse 15, so persecute them with thy tempests, and make them afraid with thy storm. See, the Lord is going to judge them. Verse 17, let them be confounded and in trouble forever. Yeah, let them be put to shame and perish. Verse 18, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh. It says Jehovah right here, but we know, according to the Paleo Hebrew, his name is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. And the Lord is going to make his name known and declare it. Right now we're declaring it, but he's going to declare it by way of his judgment, because these nations have come up against us to try to destroy us. And that's why these nations are going to go into captivity. We're going to rule over our oppressors. They that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. All these different scriptures, man. You can't run from this. You can't run from this judgment, man. So this is Psalms the 83rd chapter, man, just highlighting these nations, going against us and how the Lord is going to rise up ultimately against them. All right, the Lord said, he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of mine eye. So the Lord is going to avenge us, starting with his elect. So Lord willing, this is edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Makakodash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Till next time, Shalom.